Now, here's something that was done halfway and can be completed and improved upon even more. So if you look, everybody who knows this car knows that this is not the original compressor. There's nothing wrong with that. This is more plentiful, easier to get, and basically nearly indestructible. So that was a good replacement. Look at the size of this condenser. Now I talk about condensers. This was from the back of the R12 days. And look at the size of this receiver dryer. So it goes to our expansion valve. That is located right there. There's the expansion valve. You can see the bulb, and you can see the sensing bulb that comes off top. The sensing line filled has a gas charge in it. But when I go up here, do you see something that catches your eye? What looks unusual? See that box that looks like it could be a subwoofer speaker box, but you go, why is there some corrugated looking venti material going over there? Let's take a closer look at this. Let's come around the backside, and we got an air blower on it, a blower motor from under a dash going onto what looks like a 5x9 speaker box, and it got modified, which is really cool. His only improvement he could have done, I mean, he has air blowing there, but there's no expansion, there's no evaporate, just air, I guess, to help. And you can see where the air is going up, and then you see the holes in the side, right? No, it's not going up there. Where does he have that going? I see it going, oh, he has it going into these vents. Oh, these are so restrictive. I see what he's doing. There he goes. I mean, that's a good idea, but that's super restrictive. Okay, so what you would want to do, you want to cut these out of here, and you just got to remove that material. That like makes that useless, trying to go through those little itty bitty dinky holes right there. It's too restrictive. So that modification can also be wide, and there's enough room inside here where you can run tubing up into headliner, and you can literally put little vents in the sides. If you've ever seen them inside limousines, in this vehicle you can add that because there's enough room. So you can have these vents so it comes off the back of the glass and goes on the the passenger in the rear. But you also can add vents up here, and you can even bring them all the way over so they could come down, as you could shut them on or off for the driver himself. And you can have this on both sides. So what you do is you convert this to a box style. Like you remember the old 1964 Mustangs 5, 6, and other cars that had the Mark IV, the big brown box under there with big 4 vents, and they would chill you out, the ice cool. Well, you could put one of those or a limo conversion box, because he's already doing it. Take out that box, modify everything, and what you do is you don't want to take air from up high, because that's where, well, actually, yeah, you can take air from up high, but you have to make your vent bigger. This is too restrictive. And you feed the fresh air into the box. You definitely want it coming from the passenger compartment. You do not want to be pulling air for 2 reasons from the trunk. 1, it gets really hot in there. 2, you have exhaust, that you have really rich CO, and especially when you're at idle, and even when you're going 65 miles an hour down the road, you can't see it, but sometimes, have you ever seen a car that's all black and you see the exhaust come out and you see it swirling around here and it hits the back of the trunk? Well, when you have, under some conditions, a cabin can become, instead of pressurized, negative, and you can draw in carbon monoxide from your exhaust into the trunk while you're driving, and then it would get sucked up and distributed into the passenger compartment. So you wouldn't want that. You want to draw the air from the passenger compartment and feed it to the passenger compartment. And this guy can have some really excellent cooling. I've talked about condensers. Let's get back here again. If you see the thickness of this condenser compared to nowadays condensers that might be a 1/2 inch or even less, 3/8 of an inch, I've showed you that. And these are copper tubes, and it's a really big system. They can replace this. I mean, he can use this, it'll still work, but it would work better if he can find one off of like a Suburban or something really big with dual air conditioning, And you might have to move some brackets and some lines out of the way, make it a little bigger, as big as you can get. I think it'll come out to about here or so. And use some foam and close up the gaps between the sheet metal and the condenser as you mount it, to make sure there's no way that air could get sucked into these gaps up here underneath. See, this is a big gap under here. You don't want that. And you can modify this, and he could be in Las Vegas in 115 degree air and still have 40 degree air coming in, filling his cabin compartment for the passengers, just ice chilling him out. That would work really good. All right, thought you guys want to catch that, since that little speaker box back there is already being used for air. It could be converted over to a second evaporator in the rear. Really easy to do. Throw some Ys in the hose, run some hosing to the back, done deal.